Hey, we're here today to demonstrate the setup of a TrimLine Canopy. Chris is going to show us how to put a trimline together. He's got his unit all ready, took the poles out of the box and bundled those up. He's got his top and walls in one box and all of his hardware in the other. A good way to start with the trimline setup is to insert thumb screws into the fittings. Some of the fittings have washer nuts welded to the fitting, and the thumb screw just threads right in there. Chris starts with one of his foot joints, and he'll just work his way through the box and get thumb screws in all the fittings that need them. Alright, with the fittings all set to go, now Chris will start to put his poles together. He'll loose the bundles. And one thing to keep track of here is that some of the poles are coated purple. So they're just a purple stripe at one end. And there'll be purple males and purple females. So you want to match those up. So Chris will identify one purple male, one purple female, and they just slide together and click in place. The rest of the poles that are males and females are no color poles, and as it says, there's no color to them, and that's because they're all interchangeable. So again, the male just slides in, clicks in place, and that one's ready to go. Along with the purple poles and the no color poles, there's also a ridge pole. But it's a male pole and a female like all the others, so it just slides together and clicks in place. With the male and female poles all put together, what's left are the plastic rafter poles and the leg poles. Those are identified by being bigger in diameter than all the other poles. There's also two short poles that you'll see later on that will be what we call the riser poles. And because Chris will be setting up an awning with his trimline, there's two awning poles, and those are coated AWN on the end of them. With the poles all set, Chris likes to set up his trimline by laying the poles out in a square, and that's the way they'll be in the canopy. So he starts with his purple poles and lays them out approximately 10 feet apart, two purples, and then his no color poles, again approximately 10 feet apart. That gives you an idea of the space that the trimline will take up when you set it up. The next step is to slide the rafter base parts onto the purple poles. There's a rafter base. The black arrow will point inwards towards the inner part of the square that Chris has started to put together. The joint slides past the first snap button and clicks onto the second snap button in. Again, the rafter base slides past one snap button and clicks on to the second snap button. With the rafter bases in place on both of the purple poles, the next step is to slide T-joints onto the no color poles. And again, this is a process of just sliding past the first snap button out at the edge of the pole and on into the middle. And one thing that's important with the T-joint is you want to position it so that it clicks in place and it covers up the center line of the pole sections on the no color pole. So again, you slide it past one snap button onto the other one such that the center line is covered up. If you're going to be using an optional rear door on your trimline, this would be a good time to set the rear door L joint onto the frame of the trimline. You can note that the door L has extra holes on one of the barrels, and it's actually a longer barrel. That's the one that'll point down and will accept the leg. And here again, it's a matter of sliding the joint onto the frame. Just slide it past one snap button, and you want to put it in about 3 feet in or so. If you'll be using an optional French wall on your trim line, this would be a good time to install the offset leg joint onto the frame. Here's the offset leg joint, and you can tell the barrel that goes down is the one that has the multiple holes on it, and that barrel will accept a leg on your French wall. And here again, it's a matter of sliding the leg joint, the offset leg joint, onto the pole, past one snap button, and just set it up right next to the rafter bases. Now's the time to put the corner joints onto the frame. Here Chris has one corner joint, one left and one right. Notice that the barrel with the thumb screw on it points down. That'll accept the leg. And notice that the corner joints have rafter stubs welded to them. One nice way to think about this is that the rafter stub on the corner joint points the same way as the rafter base on the purple pole. So in this case, Chris has a left corner joint, and that'll go on the front left of the canopy. And it's just a matter of sliding it onto the purple pole and click it in place, and then slide it onto the no color pole and click it in place. Notice that the T-joint on the no color pole is pointing up. Here goes the other corner joint. This is a right corner joint. And again, it's pointing in the same direction as the rafter bases. At this point, we'll install the ridge pole onto the frame. Chris will start with the short 26-inch riser pole, and that'll click into the riser T. Next, take the ridge support joint and put that onto the ridge pole. Clicked in place. And we'll do that on the other side as well. The riser pole in position. And the ridge support onto the ridge pole. Now the easy way to do this is just start that ridge support joint onto the pole. Doesn't have to click in place, just get it started. Go to the other side, click that one in place, and then come back and finish the last click. Now it's time to put the rafters together. Notice that there are two kinds of rafter poles. One is the rafter center, and the other is the rafter end with a metal connector on it. The rafter ends go in position onto the stubs of the rafter bases. Chris is ready to put the canopy top onto the frame now. So you just set it along the top of the ridge pole and unroll it over the roof of the canopy frame. Keeps it off the ground this way and up at a nice level that's easy to work at. Once he's got it out over the frame, then you just start pulling it into position. With the roof in place, Chris will get down to the straps and buckles on the bottom edge of the canopy top, and you want to fix at least one or two of those in place before you put the canopy up on its legs, just to hold it in place in case there's some breeze when you go to put the canopy up on legs. Find the buckle and strap, click those into position. With the canopy top in place, now's a nice time to open up the vents. The heat and wind vents are a nice standard feature of the TrimLine. They do a couple of good things for you. In hot, summery conditions, they'll allow airflow through the booth and keep it from heating up on the inside. Or in windy, blustery days, they'll alleviate wind pressure on the booth. Chris is going to show us how the telescoping legs work on his TrimLine Canopy. Here's the telescoping leg pole. It's the largest diameter tubing of anything in the TrimLine. And also you can identify this pole because it's got a row of holes punched into it. That's for adjusting the leg, and we'll see how that works in just a little bit. Chris also has his fittings laid out. He's got the footplate. That goes on every telescoping leg. He also has his stay bar parts, as Chris has the optional stay bar kit. There is a stay bar L and a stay bar 3-way, and you can identify them because they both have white arrows on them. So look for the white arrows, and they're on all the stay bar parts. And as Chris has a optional awning along with his TrimLine, he's got his awning support L laid out as well. It's a larger diameter barrel with a black arrow on that fitting. So you can tell the awning support L by the black arrow, and that'll go on the leg as he gets it ready for use. The leg pole comes shipped to you in a totally collapsed position, and you may not ever have it this way again, but to get the leg ready for use, give it a shake, and then you'll see that the inside portion of the leg will slide on out. The next thing to do is to line the snap button that comes out, line it up with the row of holes, and then pull the leg back and forth until the top snap button catches in the top hole. That's what we call the travel position, and that's a handy way to store and transport the leg, and it'll stay in that position without expanding or collapsing. Once you have the leg in the travel position, it's a good time to put the stay bar parts on and the foot. The way to use the stay bar L is to slide it onto the pole, past the snap button, and it'll just stay there for you. And then you can put the foot plate on. Again, it's just slide it onto the pole and snap it in position. Notice that with the pole in the travel position, there's room for both the foot and the stay bar L to stay on there. If you want to transport them that way with those fittings in place, you can leave them there or take them back off again. Now Chris is going to put the awning support L onto his leg, and here again it's just a matter of sliding the fitting over the first snap button and let it down onto the leg. And what you may want to do then is to use the thumb screw and just snug it up a little bit. And here note that the black arrow is pointing down on that awning support L. To extend the leg, a nice way to do it is to put your toe onto the foot plate of the leg. You push in the top snap button and pull the leg up until you hear a click. Then just let it down and let it rest on that snap button, and that's the one we call the catch button. Then you can just rotate the leg until you hear another click, and that's the adjuster button snapping into place. If you need to adjust the leg, later on you can push in the little adjuster button and raise the leg up or lower it down, whatever number of clicks, to get it in the correct position. Later on, when it's time to put the leg back into the travel position, you want to push both snap buttons at the same time and let the leg go straight down until it catches again at the top hole. Then your leg is back in the travel position. Now Chris is going to put his legs onto the TrimLine. He's got the legs laid out in their approximate locations of where they're going to go, and note that he put the legs with the stay bar L's up at the front of the booth, since he is going to install a stay bar kit, and the legs with the stay bar three-ways are at the back of the booth. And this is the point in the TrimLine setup where it really is easiest if you can ask somebody for a hand for a minute while you put the legs on. And Norm's going to help Chris with the leg installation. And it's just a matter of lifting up the front of the booth, and while you put each leg into position. And as with the other fittings, it's just a matter of sliding the leg onto the corner joint and clicking it in place. And then you can let the TrimLine rest on its front legs while you go to the back of the booth. At the back of the booth, it's the same procedure. Lift the booth up. And insert those last two legs. And then pretty much putting up the TrimLine goes back to being a one-person operation. With the frame up on legs, now it's time to finish putting the top in place. You can check these straps and buckles, make sure they're secure, but those buckles do not have to be tight. They're just there to hold the top on. Then each corner has a Velcro wrap. I'm going to put that in position. And along the sides, each side has two Velcro wraps, and those will hold the top in place in the wind. Now Chris is ready to install his stay bar poles. It's best to work your way from the back to the front with the stay bars. So Chris will start by inserting a pole into the stay bar three-way, but just part way in, and then go to the other side of the booth. You got to move the leg a little bit, put the pole in, click that one in position, and then go back over and click the other side. With the side stay bars, again, it's best to start at the back, put the pole in partially, put the front in completely, and then go to the back and finish snapping that snap button in. And one last side. And the final thing to do with the stay bars is, once you have them all in poles all in position, go around and snug up the thumb screws on the stay bar fittings. And while you're doing that, this is a good time to just go around and snug up all the thumb screws on all the fittings. And you'll notice that that adds a lot of extra stability to the canopy. At this point, with the canopy up on legs and the stay bars installed, it's really important to go ahead and stake it down. Start with the 4 steel spikes. Those are provided in your hardware kit. And also the tie-down screws, and those will really hold the booth to the ground. If you can get them in all the way to the height of the stay bar, then a nice way to go is to use your bungee cord. Go twice around the pole and hold the booth in place that way. Alternately, you can use a piece of curtain cord or other kind of rope to tie the tie-down screw to the stay bar pole. Now Chris is going to put the walls on the TrimLine. As a standard feature, the TrimLine walls are fully zippered, so they'll zip to the canopy top and zip to each other along the sides. So Chris has got the wall started. The way to identify the top of the wall is that the roll-up strap is at the top, and the long portion of the roll-up strap is to the inside of the canopy. So with the wall started in place, then it's just a matter of work your way across, zipping along from one edge to the other. To zip the walls together along the edges, it's the same process of joining the two zippers together and get them started at the top. And then notice that there's Velcros up at the top of each wall, and that'll hook those two walls together, and it's good to do that. Keep the two walls snug at the top. And then you zip from top to bottom, and then there's the corner flaps on the trim line. So once you get the walls in position, you can just put the corner flaps together and snug those up. When you're open for business and you have the front wall off, you can use Velcro wraps to hold the wall to the leg. All the walls have these, and that'll just secure the wall to the frame with the front wall removed. Chris has got his trim line all set up now. He's taking a little break, but in a minute he'll be putting out his artwork and getting ready to sell.